how to know when you were in the God state or the knowing state or the desired state. There's a lot of different names for it. I like to call it the God state. This is something not everybody will experience. And I've only really experienced it one time. And that was after affirming for about 2 months for my big manifestation. And I didn't even get into that feeling until about the last 2 weeks before my manifestation came. And you do not have to be in this state or feel it to manifest. Not everybody will. And that's the only time I ever have. Just one time. I have manifested so many things without feeling that or being in that state. But when I was, I knew I was in the God state. I was so calm, cool, collected. I knew everything was going to work out for me. I knew it was already mine. And it actually, it hadn't confirmed itself to me in the 3D yet. But it had. I just hadn't checked my emails. But when I did check my emails, I had received an email days prior pretty much telling me I had my manifestation. It was there. So even though I hadn't seen that yet, I still knew it was mine. God, I was so calm. I was not wavering, as I was a little bit, but not like normal. So I was wavering, but for the most part, I was in that God state. Like, I just knew it was mine, but I was still affirming. I affirmed and visualized up until my manifestation showed itself to me. And then that's when I stopped, because I was like, oh, okay, wow, here it is. But not everybody is going to feel that. With a lot of my manifestations, I was upset, sad, crying, whatever. I was not always in a good place when some of my manifestations came in. So you do not have to be happy-go-lucky all the freaking time for you to get your manifestation. And that has only been a one-time thing for me. So I don't want people to be like, oh, I have to be in this state to get my manifestation. No, I promise you don't. That was the only time for me. And I knew I was in it. I knew I was in the God state. And the best way I can explain it is I just knew. I knew I had my manifestation. Like, I have heard so many other people saying that, and I was like, what the heck do you mean you just knew? How do you just know? Like, but that is the best way I can explain it. I just knew, like, it's like it had already shown itself to me in the 3D, pretty much, you know. It's like I already seen it. And I just felt, I knew deep down that it was already mine, and it was. If I had just checked my email sooner, I would have actually saw it in the 3D. But I promise you do not have to be in that state to manifest. A lot of times you're not going to be in that knowing state. At least, you may never feel it, and that's okay. You don't have to. But you might end up feeling it once you've been practicing the law. But I think the best piece of advice I can give you is stop trying to find content to get your manifestations. I had to stop doing that when I was trying to get this manifestation. I had to stay off TikTok, YouTube. I had to stay off everything because I kept trying to devour all this information from different content creators, and it was just making me crazy. It was making me crazy, insane. And I was like, okay, step 1, stop doing this. Step 2, just worry about your affirmations, you know, practice the law. Stop trying to learn about it because I already know about it. So at that point, I was like, okay, no more. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to stop watching all this content. And, you know, I'm gonna do the work. I'm going to put in the work. And it's not even hard work. Visualize. Affirm. And you don't have to affirm all the time like I did. You do not, I promise. But it's up to you. Because I affirmed a lot because it helped me stay in that positive mindset. It helped me a lot. I didn't want any negative thoughts getting in at all, but they did. I was not in the, even like right before, I remember seeing the email and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this going to say? I got that stomach churning feeling, that stomach drop. Right before I even opened it to know I had my manifestation, I had that feeling. And then I opened it and I was like, oh wow, okay. So like, no, even then, I was still worried about it. So No, I was not in that God state when I saw that email. That's for sure. I was like, oh gosh, what is this going to say? I had no idea what it was going to say. But luckily, yes, it was my manifestation. So I was very happy. But no. Then I was back in the God state again. But I haven't felt it since then. I got that one manifestation. So that's really all that mattered to me. After that, I do not worry about when my manifestation has come, how long it's going to take. I don't worry about the how. I don't worry about anything. I do not focus on that. I focus on my affirmations and my visualization to get what I want. And I am in the knowing state of knowing I will always get my manifestations, even if I'm in a bad mood. Some people will tell you, oh, you have to be in this happy-go-lucky place to manifest. No, you do not. You do not. For most of mine, I was not. Now, for some people, that might be the way they manifest. They have to be in a happy-go-lucky mood. But you probably have a limiting belief. You have to be in a happy-go-lucky mood if that's the only way you can manifest. Because no. I know so many people. I've heard so many stories. They are not in a good mental place when they are manifesting. Affirm while you cry. Affirm while you're in bed sobbing. Like, who cares? Just do it. You manifest because you're constantly thinking of something until it shows up in your reality. You're not manifesting because you're happy, because you're excited. I mean, you do, but you don't only manifest when you're happy and excited and in a good mood. You can manifest in any freaking mood. It doesn't matter about the mood. It matters about your persistence. If you want it, you will persist. And that's... You can watch all the content in the world, but until you actually persist to try to get your desire, you have to actually want it, I guess. I don't know. But because if you don't want it badly enough, I guess you ain't going to put in the work for it, which isn't even a lot of work. I wanted it badly enough, though, so I kept persisting until I got it. It took 2 months. I was good with that, though, because that's not even that long of a time. I mean, but for my first... To me, I know you're not supposed to think if it's big or small, they're all the same. But in my head at that time, that was a big manifestation. And maybe that's why it took longer for me. Maybe I had that belief at the time that this is a bigger manifestation. It's going to take longer. But even then, I was good with 2 months because that wasn't a long time in my book. But now it's like, I'm impatient. I want it in like a week or a few days. And now I have that belief that I can get it quicker, sooner. If you aren't able to manifest quickly, then tell yourself you can manifest quickly. Get that assumption in your head. Make that a new belief. Get rid of the limiting belief that it takes forever. Maybe that's why you're not getting it. But you also need to persist. Persist until you get it. Affirm, visualize, script, whatever, until it does show in your reality. And even then, if you don't want to lose it, maybe keep doing it until you know for a fact that you can keep it. Like, especially a lot of people, they get their SP back, but then they stop doing that work that they're doing, especially self-concept work. They get back with their ex and they're like, oh, is he cheating on me? Oh my gosh, I bet he's cheating on me. Then he starts cheating, or she starts cheating, because now you've created that assumption that they're cheating. So sometimes, even after you get your manifestation, you might have to keep up with it. Oh, he's so in love with me. He would never do anything to jeopardize our relationship, blah, 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 whatever. If you have to do that until you make it a new belief. Because you need to make that a new belief, or you could possibly risk losing your manifestation. Now, when I was in my God state, I think it was because I had affirmed so much, every day, all day, oh my goodness, that it finally got into my subconscious mind, and my subconscious mind believed it. It believed it until I felt it. I felt it real, which isn't something I was ever able to do before. But you don't always have to believe your affirmations either. But still fucking say them. Say them. And say them until you do believe them. Eventually you will start believing it. And sometimes you may not. It'll still show up in your 3D if you're persistent with it. You at least got to stay persistent. But I think that's about it for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.